Good night, Capiche. Good night. 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 Good night, Capiche. Good night. Good night, Capiche. Good night. Good night, Capiche. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night, Capiche, where we talk about bedtime stories of modern day politics as we put you to bed. Y'all know what I be saying. Y'all know what it do. Welcome to the Good Night Capiche show, where I don't even know what the fudge I'm talking about. But yet again, there has been a lot going on in the media today. Well, yesterday has been a very, 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 give me like 2 seconds. It was the State of the Union, ladies and gentlemen. State of the Union. And I promise you, all you non political, Democratic, non Democratic fart fucks didn't watch. You probably didn't care. And I'm saying it like that because I know this to factually be true. You fuck farts don't care. Y'all don't care so much to where y'all don't even know if y'all getting a stimulus check. Y'all don't even know if y'all getting a tax write-off. Y'all don't know if ISIS is coming for you. You don't know, do you? I say all these things because this is how important the future and stuff like State of the Union is. State of the Union is a chance for you to sit there and have a somewhat of an idea of what the president's future and plans are, and do you agree or disagree with them? You get to hear the accomplishments or the non-accomplishments of a president. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of the jury, I come to you today because it saddens me to see that a lot of you out there don't give a rat's ass. But if an Epstein file came out and said that Trump spin your bin ya, y'all be all over it. You be all over like white girls on cocaine. It amazes me. If y'all be on it like black folks on hot sauce on a Sunday after church, you will be on it. No, I ain't gonna go that far. I was gonna go. I want to rant so bad, but I feel like it's a waste of you guys' time. You really wouldn't care. You'd be like, he's talking about that orange hair man. And ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the dude hair is not orange. So let's just, can we throw that out the window? It's not orange. I thought they was calling him orange. They do call him orange. But I'm looking at the man's head right now. I'm looking at his hair right now. And that motherfucker looks awfully gray. The orange is gone. I guess the white and the gray is in his hair because it's showing his true racial side. I want to play. I want to play. I was looking for a clip. I want to play this clip because this is an exclusive of what I want y'all to see of what was going on. This is just a small inkling of what I was watching. Okay.
You should be ashamed of yourself not standing up. You should be ashamed of yourself. That is why I'm also asking you to end deadly sanctuary cities that protect the criminals and enact serious penalties for public officials who block the removal of criminal aliens. In many cases, drug lords, murderers all over our country, they're blocking the removal of these people out of our country, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
He said you should be ashamed of yourself for allowing these people who don't belong here. And I know people have their opinions about that, but look at this. Look, gentlemen. Wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen, I watched the State of the Union during Joe Biden administration. I watched the State of the Union during Barack Obama's administration. Yes, the hell I did. And I can honestly say this for real. Nobody chanted when a Democrat was in office, USA, 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 because a president did something that they highly approved of. I got a friend in South Carolina. He's not into politics at all. He can't stand politics. He posts almost every day, to the fact that now he want to start his own podcast, a politic podcast. It's amazing he want to start this, y'all. Let me get back to the previous show. Sorry. But ladies and gentlemen, for y'all that don't know about politics and don't get into it, for y'all that claim y'all don't like it, it's disgusting. Hey, it's nothing but feeling racist people. Why do we see your comments every time y'all don't like something? Look at what he's doing to the Democrats. Look what he's doing to the illegals. Look at what he's doing to the police officers. Look what he's doing to the National Guard. You know what they sound like? How many of y'all watched 8 Mile, Eminem? You remember when that fat light-skinned dude was in there? Them freaky gals. Them freaky gals. Whatever they said. That's what that sounds like. That's what you sound like. Now, I know I got a person watching this show for sure. I know you watch. I know you're a Democrat. Oh, I'm a liberal. I'm not a Democrat. I'm talking to you personally. It's funny that you're losing and you're still bitching. I never seen a bunch of losers cry. When I lost the election, Trump lost the election, did we cry? No. And I know that you're like, well, what about Trump? I said we. I didn't say did Trump cry. It don't matter. Our country should be put in a party against another. So See, comments like this I love, because this is an ignorant person talking. This is a person that don't know the Democratic Party and the Republican Party was made so you can have an opinion. But yet again, you'll get your votes and your rights taken away. Ignorant people amazes me how ignorant they want to get just to try to prove a point, just to get 2 seconds of fame. Me, I don't need fame. I can care less. What I want is factual. So let's go to y'all know where we finna go. Let's get some reaction on this. Because I know I'm gonna be talking about this all day. Let's get into it.
President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, giving the longest State of the Union address on record, clocking in at something like 1 hour, 48 minutes, beating his own previous record set last year at what was not officially a State of the Union, was a joint address to Congress, giving a rousing description of the United States of America that he sees when he looks out the window, even if it isn't the one that most Americans, according to polls, see in terms of the economic prosperity, in addition to some very sharp, very partisan, even nasty attacks on Democrats and some populist economic proposals. The president taking time to make healthy use of stories both sad and illustrative and inspiring, stories of fellow Americans. We saw not one, but two Congressional Medals of Honor awarded, one to a 100-year-old Navy fighter pilot from World War II, Korea and Vietnam. The other one to Chief Warrant Officer Eric Slover, injured during the Maduro raid just last month. I do not doubt that his supporters will absolutely love his speech and his critics will find much to hate about it, but there were definitely moments that I think any American would appreciate.
Yeah, and what Americans wanted to hear more than anything else was about the economy. And the president certainly did what we hear a lot on a daily basis about how he thinks it's the greatest economy in the world, and all of the sort of hyperbole that is classic vintage Trump. But he did put in some specifics, as you said, populist economic proposals in there that will please the Republicans who are sitting in that chamber right now, who are all up for reelection and are very worried about that reelection. We talked about things that really are hitting Americans hard. Energy costs, said that he is going to try to get the AI companies to pay for, and the tech companies to pay for how much energy they are using, which American consumers are now paying for largely. Housing costs.
Let's listen to that one more time.
Get the AI companies to pay for, and the tech companies to pay for how much energy they are using, which American consumers are now paying for largely. Housing costs, he got a proposal in on that. Is that going to make people feel better tomorrow? No. But
listen to her talk. The housing crisis has been going up for 20 years. These crises that they're talking about have been going up for years. Get that line.
A lot of the concern that people who are going to go out and vote or not vote this election year is that they don't think that he's paying attention to that. And is this speech going to solve that? No. But at least they all have clips and some talking points that they can go back on the campaign trail and start talking about.
Yeah, and I just want to note there was Thomas Massey standing over as the president was exiting. Of course, the president and Thomas Massey have feuded. He's not been happy with him. He wants him to lose his job as a.
I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I really want to listen to this, but this is horrible. This is CNN trying to listen to a person give their input, and this is horrible. Like, she sound like, and I know y'all can't hear me because that's how low she sound. Let's speed this on up to the good part. Where is the damn crew at? Here we go.
paying down their credit card bills. That remains to be seen ahead of the midterms, but they certainly had those moments.
Well, and of course, big picture, we have to remember, I mean, this is a president who's been under immense pressure, right? His polling, his approval rating is lower than it's ever been. He was speaking to a room full of Republican members of Congress, who many of whom stand to lose their seats. The president stands to lose part of the power that he currently has in Washington. And I think the speech reflected the way this president often deploys the strengths that he has. Yes, he spent some time defending his own record. He spent some time blaming his predecessor. He spent some time, at least one of my Republican sources pointed out to me, trying to convince people it wasn't as bad as maybe they feel that it was. But he spent far more time during this speech on offense, right? Ticking through places that are culturally inflammatory in some cases. He put Democrats on the spot repeatedly. I mean, he almost goaded Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar at one point into shouting back at him when he asked the crowd to stand and clap if they supported American citizens. That is where this president often tries to project strength, and he did it again tonight.
And for those
showing cowardice in a party because they don't stand for the people of the United States of America is what he did. Showing the people that the things that I actually did were good, that I consider good, that people that voted me consider good. The Democratic Party still thinks it's horrible. That's what that speech and what she's alluding to, I got out of it.
at home who are wondering what exactly happened when Congressman Al Green, Democrat of Texas, why he was ejected. He was holding a sign saying, quote, "Black people aren't apes," an allusion to the video that President Trump tweeted a few days ago in which President Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama were in fact depicted as apes. Anderson?
Jake, thanks very much.
They kill me talking about the Barack Obama tape, which is not a tape, y'all. Everybody knows it's not even 3 seconds long of them in there. It can't. I'm not gonna go there.
With the panel, John King, what stood out to you?
I think it's important to remember that, sadly, in my view, most Americans live in their silo. And so people watch this from their perspective of choir practice for the most part. President had a lot of challenges coming into this speech. His approval rating overall is down. His approval rating in the economy is down. Approval rating in immigration is down. I mentioned early on one of the big glaring problems for Republicans, because it's a midterm year.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, when they talk about his approval rate and how it went down, that's a hard thing to measure because yet again, his approval rate showed that he wasn't even going to win the election, but he won. So how can you go off any polls when his polls doesn't reflect the true people and how they truly feel? We have seen this over and over and over again. He had a red wave due to the fact that they was not used, or the polls were totally wrong.
His approval rating among Republicans is down some too, from 90% to 82% in our most recent poll. I would not be surprised at all if he helped himself there. That's not enough. That's not enough. One speech is not going to change anything. But the Republican Party needs its base enthusiastic heading into the midterm election year. And there was a lot in the speech from the president, both from a policy perspective of what he's done and what he's trying to do, and the few skirmishes he had with the Democrats. That if you're trying to get your base to say, okay, I've been sort of pulled back, Washington's too loud, I don't like the fighting, I don't like a lot of Latino Republicans I talked to, I don't like seeing ICE in the streets of America, you might get a little bit of them back in the fight.
And that is what was so important about tonight. He nailed the Republican base, brought them back in the fold with a solid message on the economy, on immigration, on his foreign policy. That is the work he had to do. And that also brings over a lot of independents that are similarly minded to what Republicans believe.
Not sure about that part, but we'll see. I mean, that's
actually how the presidential election modeled out. and will be very instructive and important for the midterms. But between now and the midterms, he has to maintain his control of Republicans on the Hill. He did that and did that in spades.
Well, he also basically kept control of himself, which I think will be a great relief to his strategists and aides there. But the question, I mean, I think he did well from their perspective for the reasons that you say, John, and he used the gallery very skillfully to kind of simulate empathy, which is a thing that he's been lacking. And that's sort of a surrogate for that. The question is, he started off the speech by saying, this is the turnaround for the ages. Right. And as you know, because you're traveling around the country, people don't think the direction is right. And I don't think this cured that. So we'll see. But I don't think a lot of the people who needed to be persuaded probably were watching this speech.
I also just want to quickly point out, in about a minute or so, we're going to be hearing from the Democratic response from Governor Abigail Spanberger of Virginia, newly elected.
They is all over the place. They is trying to scatter our brains. Think of this, think of that, think of that, think of this. They is all over the place. Let's see what the treasurer had to say about Trump's speech. We see CNN and a paddle. That was just a paddle. Let's go over here and see what's good.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, who was in the chamber tonight listening to the president deliver his State of the Union address. Secretary Bessent, thank you so much for staying up late with us. We really appreciate it.
Good to see you.
Well, it's wonderful to have you here. Get your reaction to everything we just heard. In the run up to this speech, I spoke with a number of Republicans who say they wanted to hear President Trump express his empathy for Americans who don't feel like the economy is working for them yet. We heard the president say that the economy is roaring. Do you think that he expressed empathy for those Americans who say they are still struggling?
Kristen, I can tell you the president never stops working for the American people. And I think he made the point that he has brought down prices. He has brought down mortgage rates, the large tax cuts. You know, I'm also the IRS commissioner. I can tell you that 47% of the returns we're getting, Kristen, have one of his 4 signature policies: no tax and tips, no tax and overtime, no tax on Social Security, deductibility of auto loans. So Americans are feeling that. And I think we will see, we're going to have very large refunds, and Americans will change their withholding. And I think that they are going to see it. We saw a big jump way above expectations in consumer confidence today. And Chris, the important thing was it's in the forward expectations. So if the Democrats want to run on the economy in November, bring it on, because I think we're going to have a great economy this year. We had a great economy last year. Fourth quarter would have been great if it weren't for the Democratic shutdown.
Well, and as you know, some prices have come down. Some prices, some groceries, for example, have gone back.
Notice how you heard her just say, some prices have gone down. I had this debate with Doc on her not that long ago, and he was denying it to the fullest. And it's like, I can agree and disagree with certain things, but I have a lot of Democratic people that come on my panel or I go on a panel that denies everything. And then I got people that are pointing fingers like, you never admit that people. I be like, you don't listen. Because yes, I have came on here personally and said things and had to admit things. But when you confront them by something that's recently happening, that you heard that you can go to, like, dang. Like, for instance, watching Stephen A. Smith defend Gavin Newsom over his speech, and that speech was horrible. And yes, I did hear him slow it down. And yes, I did notice that Stephen A. Smith did not acknowledge that either. Like, you didn't even acknowledge the key point that Nicki Minaj was talking about. You looked right over it purposely because you knew exactly what she was talking about far as racial marks towards the Black community. That was racist for as putting down Black people, what Gavin Newsom did. But yet again, Stephen A. Smith ignored. Yet again, you have a Democratic news anchor who's sitting up here and saying that, yes, there are some prices that have went down. Some prices have went up. Just want to iterate that. Dog, I'm just tired of people are just so one-sided, and then try to point at me, capeash, like I'm just so one-sided. Not true.
Back up, and if you look at the polling, the president's underwater on his handling of the economy, that critical issue. So what do you say to Americans who argue they're not feeling change fast enough?
Well, again, Kristen, the president's numbers have been improving since October. Prices are coming down, and I think we are going to see an acceleration here. We've had real wage gains every month since the president's been in office. And again, of course, Americans are traumatized. They had a 21.5%. The cost of living increase in the Biden administration, more for working Americans. That was probably north of 30, a loss of the 3 or 4% in real purchasing power. Inflation was up 2.7% last year. I think it's going to come back down to the Fed's target this year. And we're working every day to bring it down.
Mr. Secretary, I have to ask you about this announcement that President Trump made. He said that the administration will give what he referred to as often forgotten American workers access to the same type of retirement plan offered to every federal worker, vowing, quote, "We will match your contributions up to $1,000 each year." Can you tell me from a practical standpoint, how will this work? Does it need congressional approval? And is that possible in this election year?
Well, we can do it through reconciliation. And again, this is the president coming back for working Americans, those who've been left behind, the ones who don't have the 401ks. Certainly the federal employees, Congress, get all these benefits, and we will be rolling that out in the coming weeks and months. The president wanted to preview it in his speech, but I think this is going to be a very big part of working Americans' retirement program, because there is a tremendous amount of financial insecurity.
So they try to work us up to put security, Social Security in instead of taking away Social Security, like everybody been planning and claim that that's what they want to do. I say that to say this. What are we tripping off for? What are we really tripping off for? If we go, and I can't wait to have this conversation later on today to really see if we really lied about what we lied up. How are we gonna start on business? Are we really gonna start starting on business?
The president also talked about his signature policy, Trump accounts, $1,000 for every newborn born during his term that's going to be invested in the stock market. Kristen, currently 30.
Every baby born. I'm gonna rewind so y'all can hear this, and I want it documented on my show so y'all can hear this. So I want to hear it like it's only for white people. Oh my God.
Tremendous amount of financial insecurity. The president also talked about his signature policy, Trump accounts, $1,000 for every newborn born during his term that's going to be invested in the stock market. Kristen, currently 38% of Americans have no exposure to the equity market, and we think over time this is going to
Putting
remedy
your
that.
baby into the stock market. I said that on a group chat. I said that in a group. Then you want to give people on record money, give them a stock. Let them born into a stock. Man, I know what I need to do. It's like I say things because of what I've been learning. I be trying to teach my people this stuff, but nobody listens. Nobody listens. Like anybody that just had a baby while Trump is in office, your kid got stock market. Invest into this stock and your kids and you are paid. Period. Hands down. Futures is set. I ain't no hearing about it. Nigga, is real. I'm having deja vu. I swear to God. Yeah. Some other shit. I ain't heard about that, right? Well, I'm posting it. People seeing we talking about it here on the Good Night Capeash show. Yes, I'm gonna have to definitely do a special show later on today, reiterating this 100% because this is what I'm talking about, and I definitely need this one person that's gonna call out bullshit. I need this one person call. This term. What about his first term? First term don't count because he just put it into play. Maybe if people weren't all on his case and fucking with him so bad, maybe he could have thought about that his first time and did it. Just maybe. But ladies and gentlemen, this is what I'm saying. This video right here, I'm just finished playing it, but yes, we're going to break it down even better because yet again, it's a lot that was said. It was a lot that said in her that y'all are not paying attention to that he talked about. I'm sorry, I did miss his speech.
It's going to be invested in the stock market. Kristen, currently 38% of Americans have no exposure to the equity market, and we think over time this is going to remedy that so everybody will have a stake in our great innovative economy and the American dream.
All right, let me turn now to tariffs. Obviously, a number of questions swirling around what happens next after the Supreme Court did strike down the president's ability to impose the tariffs. Let me ask you.
No, Krista, let's be precise here. What the Supreme Court did was rule against the president's ability to use a narrow mandate, i.e. EPA. It did not strike down the 232 or 301 tariffs, and it did not strike down his ability to it actually reinforced his ability to move those up, and he has the ability to use something else called Section 122. So that's what the Supreme Court did on Friday. It was a very narrow ruling.
And it's my understanding that these new tariffs that he's imposed, he can impose them, the 15% tariffs that he announced over the weekend for 150 days.
Boy, now I see why my resource is definitely going to use him right here. I promise you my resource is going to use him. I promise you if you was in here watching her, you just seen a mastermind at work. Why I say that? Because you seen that she was going to try to put some narrative out there that was going to paint a picture negative. And because she hesitated going into it, she gave him a space to correct him. Like, man, let me play it again. Because y'all is slipping. Like I said, I'm going to have to break this down all over again. I probably had to go. This is sauce, straight sauce.
ability to use something else called Section 122. So that's what the Supreme Court.
Nope. Let's go back.
Will have a stake in our great innovative economy and the American dream.
All right, let me turn now.
Right here. Watch this reaction. Watch the movement. I promise you. I promise you this is okay. Watch how he correct. Watch how, because people want to talk about them tariffs. Can't talk about tariffs. People don't even bring up tariffs. People don't even bring up gas prices. It's like every time he knocked down one of y'all issues, y'all can't bring it up, and what else y'all go to? This is why he keep winning. This is why he got a lot of people's support. Just saying.
To tariffs, obviously, a number of questions swirling around what happens next after the Supreme Court did strike down the president.
This is why I got CCIP. Strike down the president's
ability to impose the tariffs.
And he just eats her alive. He's fin to eat her alive. I say that because our response is like, damn, he's right. I try to paint a narrative. I try to paint a picture for the American people to think that he was wrong for doing what he did, and he wasn't wrong for nothing that he has done in his presidency.
Let me ask you.
No, Krista, let's
No. She asked the question. Well, she painted the picture. Now she was going to ask the question. You're like, nah, let's get to the facts.
Let's be precise here. What the Supreme Court did was rule against the president's ability to use a narrow mandate, i.e. EPA. It did not strike down the 232 or 301 tariffs, and it did not strike down his ability to it actually reinforced his ability to move those up, and he has the ability to use something else called Section 122. So that's what the Supreme Court did on Friday. It was a very narrow ruling.
And it's my understanding that these new tariffs that he's imposed, he can impose them, the 15% tariffs that he announced over the weekend for 150 days.
Yeah, I heard her stuttering. Damn, he got me. Damn, why you gotta stick me for my paper? Dang. Is the tariffs really working? Dang. Do the people want another stimulus? Dang. Is gas prices going down? Dang. Did eggs prices go down? Let's keep the party going.
Given the legal challenges, given the Supreme Court ruling, why not go to Congress? Republicans have the majority in both chambers, and codify this in Congress.
Because, again, Kristen, I think what you, the American people, have been misled. With the 232s and the 301s, Congress did give the president authority to put on tariffs. So what we're going to do is the 122s are a bridge for the 150 days. And then primarily with 301s, USTR will do studies, and those are country studies. And we'll see, we will switch over to increase 301s. And I can tell you at Treasury, our estimate is that using these increased authorities, the temporary bridge of 122 for 2026, the tariff income is virtually unchanged.
So are you saying that these tariffs are going to be permanent, and that you think you have the legal authority to make these tariffs permanent, the 15% tariffs?
Again, not the 15, Kristen. The 15 is a 150-day authority. What we have the ability to do is to do studies, and the 301s primarily, but also the 232s can move back up to the previous tariff level. And since President Trump's first term, the 301s and the 232s have proven very resilient. They've survived more than 4,000 legal challenges.
And let me just zoom out. Is the goal to make tariffs writ large permanent?
The goal is to reshore American industry and stop unfair trade practices.
Get ready for 5 times more engagement and views. Oh, the algorithms love streams and engagement.
All right.
I was told by a little birdie that certain questions that they be asking, if they was to answer them questions the way that they were asked, you will be letting your opponents and people all over the world will have somewhat of an upper hand on you because they will know something of your strategy. Why would you tell the world your move?
Permanent.
The goal is to reshore American industry and stop unfair trade practices.
All right, let me ask you, because obviously one of the questions is about potential refunds. The president didn't say whether he's going to refund what's been estimated to be about 100. Let me ask the question. Let me just ask the question, because it's about $134 billion in revenue. You told me in September, quote, we would have to give a refund if the Supreme Court ruled against the tariffs and decided that was necessary. FedEx is now suing the administration for tariff refunds. If the court sides with FedEx, Mr. Secretary, is the administration prepared to offer those refunds?
Well, Kristen, let's be clear here. The Supreme Court remanded the refunds back down to a lower court. There will be a 42-day period before that even happens, and then we will see what the lower court says, and we will follow what the lower court says to do.
So, meaning if the lower court says that you do have to issue these refunds, the administration is prepared to issue refunds?
We will follow the ruling of the lower court, Kristen.
And your reaction to this FedEx case?
Well, I'll point out a lot of things. The CEO of FedEx is on the U.S.-China Business Council, which I find very interesting because, China is the largest payer of U.S. tariffs. So, take that for what you will. And the other thing, too, is why don't we see if these corporations, I think all these corporations should come out and tell everyone, the CEO of FedEx, you should have him on your show and have him explain how he's going to get the money back to the consumers if he, in fact, pass those costs along.
All right, let me ask you, broadly speaking, this speech was historic because it was the longest State of the Union address in history. It was also the first State of the Union address, according to our research, that was delivered against the backdrop of a partial government shutdown. Of course, as you know, Mr. Secretary, Department of Homeland Security currently shut down over this battle over reforms to ICE. Now that the president has delivered his State of the Union address, do you think there can be a deal to reopen the government? And is the president willing to make some concessions to Democrats to make that happen?
Well, we'll have to see, Kristen. The Democrats in the party have shut down. They were responsible for the longest shutdown in government history. It brought our GDP down in the fourth quarter between 1% and 2%. They've shown over and over again they don't care about the American people. They don't care about the economy. They want what they want, and it'll be up to the president to negotiate with them.